Alrighty, good morning, evening, afternoon. Today, we're visiting the shortest private railway in all of Japan, measuring at just 2.7 kilometers and taking just 8 minutes to go end to end. It's honestly a miracle it's survived up until this long, but it seems that reality might just be catching up with it, as it may close as soon as sometime this year. Alright, so I'm at the city of Gobo, somehow a city, despite having a population of only 20 to 30,000. Japan just works that way, I don't know. But anyways, I'm about to ride the Kishu Tetsudo, which is Japan's shortest private railway, as I said, probably in the introduction. I believe we have about maybe 15 minutes until it departs, so let's head on over. So this is the Kuroshiro. This is a different variety to the one I rode in my last video. This is the same model as the special Panda editions, but this is it's not got a special Panda design, but let's go see it off, I guess. Oh, and there's another one over there. Okay. But in any case, the Kishu Tetsudo operates on this one platform, really short, platform 0. It's called, as Japan occasionally likes to do their platforms. And I mean, it's short because there's only one carriage. But anyways, let's wait for the train. Wow, and with no announcement on, no warning, it's here, it's coming. So I'm not sure exactly what the rolling stock is for this, but you can tell it's not been repainted in a wee bit. All the doors are opening. Righty, let's get ourselves a nice little seat. Okay, so as this train literally only takes like 8 minutes to run, I'm just going to be recording the whole thing and just picking out the best of the ride, I guess. So yeah, we've got about maybe 4 minutes until it departs. Let's enjoy it. So we're coming up to the first stop on this line, which is Gakumon, which if you know any Japanese, I mean Gaku means studying and Mon means gate, so the gates of studying, i.e. there's a lot of schools around the station. We will actually be passing through the station, actually all the stations, so I'll explain a bit more about that and other stations, you know, what they're all about a bit later. And like a flash, we are already approaching the next station. The initial bit is probably the longest stretch without a station. From here, we're literally just going to be rapid firing them. Hi, alrighty, and that's it. We're already finished. That was incredibly short, which I mean, obviously I already knew, but wow, I mean, because the thing is, okay, so I mentioned I'd be visiting all the stations, and that's because I'll be walking back, because it's only like 2.7 kilometers, it's so short, I might as well. Now also give me the opportunity to take a look at all the stations. So one always very popular view of this train is if you kind of come around the shed. I'll take a look at the actual station building in a bit, don't worry, but it's this view here where, so one spoiler about this line, it used to actually continue. I'm looking at the remains of the line as it was, and kind of they just haphazardly built a barrier, I suppose, to obviously stop the, I mean, this wouldn't stop the train if it went haywire, I'm sorry, but they've tried, I guess. And if you're wondering how it feels to actually walk into the station, here it is. Now, one thing, there are a few people here, we've kind of been tripping over each other trying to get photos and such, because I guess people have caught wind of its demise, or just because of the fact it's an odd little station. And if you're wondering what's at the station, you've got a little former ticket office, I assume, boarded up, I imagine, a little while ago. You have the timetable, which I believe was amended recently to try and save money. I recall before they had like kind of, they just had it blanked out in response to that. And then if we wrap around here, they have old photos of Gobo, I believe. Oh, and funnily enough, this is actually one of the stations, the former stations before it got shortened. Again, spoilers, I guess, I don't know. And of course, because it's Japan, you gotta have a bike parking space. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do for the rest of the video, because obviously if it was just that, as interesting as it is, it'd be a bit boring and probably too short. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna follow the, if you can see it, yeah, there you go, the former stretch that was discontinued, I believe in the late 80s, and it's actually remarkably intact, surprisingly, almost to the point where you feel like they could repair it in a day and it'd be back up and running. So let's take a look and walk through that, and then we're gonna walk all the way back to Gobo Station, hitting all the stations on the way back. So as you should be able to see here, yeah, so it continues on all the way down here. I wonder if you can actually access the, okay, so that's one thing. So up until there, I suppose. Wait, let me get a bit closer and explain what I'm trying to talk about. So you see, this is obviously, these are the tracks, which again, considering this was gone maybe about, what, 40 years ago almost now, remarkably intact. But just as a forewarning, it seems a lot of it is not accessible. You shouldn't access it because you would be breaking the law. So just be careful. So as far as we can, I'm going to see how much I can follow. It does make you wonder though, how many of these buildings were around for these former tracks. I mean, they're very close to the buildings. I'm sure the buildings would have rattled each time those train cars were passing. Oh, I think I see where it's curved to the left. Maybe you've seen it as well, but on the ground right there, you see it. It's kind of been concreted up, but there you go. It enters this kind of wild forest here. So, okay, first of all, I'm a bit excited, and when I get excited, I get a bit disorganized, so apologies. So there's the former tracks. It seems like people have started using it as like their garden of sorts, which is fair enough. Not a bad use of a former rail alignment, I suppose. But then if we follow it like this, that's where it leads. So it would have gone through, yeah, you can see the tracks are still there. It's just very hard to see. Sorry, I'm not sure if I'm doing it justice. Maybe you can see a little bit, but yeah, the tracks are still there. And so it continues over down that way. Let me see if I can re-find the way as we wrap around these quite, how do I say, aged buildings, I suppose. So one thing, I believe, unlike the area around the station, we're starting to get a bit more into the weeds of where the actual centre of Gobo is. Or actually, I think we rather passed it on the train. Because obviously that's what this train line was, and probably still is used for, right? To get people in and out of the actual centre of Gobo, because the actual station is a bit far out. Now anyways, we're getting into, I believe, more, yes, here I can see it, yes, here we go. Okay, so I'm walking on the bloody road. It's an absolute disaster. Oh my God, someone's using it as a car park. Oh my goodness me, yeah. The demise of trains, cars, eh? Anyways, so as far as I believe I know, this area used to also be a train station, kind of near where this building is right here. I forgot the name of it. It's like Hinode something. It's quite long. I'll pop it on the screen for your convenience. So yeah, this used to be where one of the missing or now gone train stations were. Now replaced by cars. And if I'm correct, I believe this may also be a remnant of when the rails used to be here. Kind of looks like something that would be related to it, and it kind of lines up. I believe the rails went around here, did they? It seems like there aren't any rails left, but that would make sense. It does line up. So let's, I think, walk down this road. Oh yeah, the rails are back. The rails are back. I see them. Can you see them? I hope so. But yeah, they lead down that way behind this car. But it feels like I'm in some like mystery show right now. Okay, so it goes kind of more along down that way. So I think we'll just have to stick to this road and hope we find some way to get back onto it. I will say many of the structures around here feel like they belong with this former railway alignment. They look very old. Again, I imagine much of these were still around by the time it was closed. Okay, so I think if we wrap around here, I can see railway-esque stuff again. So let's take a look at that. I will say it's quite incredible that the alignment has been preserved. So, I mean, preserved is a kind term, I suppose, but just left like this. Oftentimes, they're just kind of built upon and used for housing and real estate. Yeah, look at that. Again, if they wanted to, for some reason, revive this part of the line, they could do so very easily, I imagine. They've pretty much preserved the entire thing. And look, it goes all the way, again, kind of being half used as a garden and just half left there, really. But I imagine there's not much demand for real estate around these parts, what with, you know, the population decline and such. And I guess, you know, if you want someone to remove the rails, well, take someone to do it, right? Why would you want to pay to have someone go and remove the rails if you can just leave it and just, you know, not bother? We are walking through some very nice, cute little streets, though. Look at that. That is quite gorgeous. I always say, oh, I'd love to live in a house like that, but I mean, the reality is it'd be quite a pain to live in, with, you know, bugs, drafts, the heat. You know, I often rag on Japan's modern houses on how they're very cookie cutter, fake looking and such, but there is a reason why everyone's using them, and that's because it's very easy to live in. Oh, and there's a car. Jesus Christ, okay. The lady looked at me as if I was a ghost. Okay, anyways, so yeah, here we are, it's continued on. And again, yeah, people are just kind of using it as their backyard, which is fair enough. Must feel a bit weird, though. But in any case, it seems like this is a bit of a dead end, so we're gonna have to wrap around once more. Is there? No, there's no other road. Okay, let's continue on. Oh, and look at this. In case there was any doubt that there was once a railway through here, you've got, I assume, an original sign. Look at that. It's been a bit bent and warped by whatever, by all those darn cars coming through here, I imagine. But there you go. Oh, and wait. There's like a little pathway we can maybe cut through here. I think. I really hope I'm not invading someone's private property. But wait, there you go. Continues on. Oh wow, and would you look at that? The crossing signals are still there. Wow. Look, I get, you know, not bothering to remove things, but that seems pretty, those things usually go, like instantly. Look at that. That there as well. Like these barriers, it looks like they've been put up just yesterday. Or obviously, actually, no, it doesn't because the track's completely overgrown, but it just seems weird and ridiculous that they've just left it like this. I mean, I love it. it gives people like me something to see. But speaking of something to see, we're coming up to the end, but you know, it is what it is. And the end is the final, what used to be the final station of the Kishu Tetsudo, of which I've forgotten the name. Oh boy. Oh, well done, Brandon. Look how prepared you are. And you know, look how much research and hard work you put in for the viewers. Yeah, I mean, I'll put the name down, but I'm sure I would have cocked it up anyways. But again, you see here, it's you can even see the platforms. Wonder if you can even go on them. Look at that. It looks like they've built houses on the platforms almost. And so you can see two rails in, almost like a third one. Sorry, let me zoom in. It's almost like a third alignment over that way as well. And then you have what would have been, maybe those are even the foundations of the old station. But there you go. And here we are, tracks and platforms and all, at the last station of the Kishu Tetsudo. Now, in terms of why this part was scrapped, I believe it's got something to do with the fact that Gobo used to be, you know, pretty industrial city, had a great kind of harbour and such, and that's all gone now, so they've just got no need for it anymore, I suppose. So they just cut that off. But unfortunately, it seems like the rest may not remain for very long, let's just say. So obviously, as I mentioned in the beginning, Kishu Tetsudo is obviously a private railway, and the owner is currently actually a real estate company. Apparently they purchased it all the way back because it supposedly gives you prestige to own a railway company. I don't know how that works, but they've basically used the name of the railway as their company name. So their name is, I believe, Kishu Tetsudo Kaisha or something like that. But what's happened in over the last few years is that that company was bought out by a Chinese investment firm or something like that. And needless to say, they are not awfully keen on still funding this, I assume, quite heavy loss railway, and they don't really want that to continue. So they've been pushing very hard for this railway to close. And I believe this year in particular, they've gone very hard on it, to the point where there have been rumours that this line may close this year, even as soon as the middle of the year, but it seems like it's not going to close at least that quickly. Now, obviously, when you hear that, you may think, okay, you know, but can't they do anything? Now, the things with lines which are unprofitable and about to close, there's always a pattern of things they try to do. You know, talk with local authorities for them to maybe fund it, or, you know, find someone else to buy it. But in the Kishu Tetsudo's case, first of all, there's no prospect this will probably ever make money. So I don't think anyone else is going to buy it. I'm not sure if the chivalry of wanting to own a railway company for the sake of it is going to be, you know, a thing for much longer, if any more. And obviously local authorities, I imagine they are not flush with cash as their, you know, their tax base just decreases year over year because of aging populations. In terms of trying to raise more money from tickets, I actually read a news article, it was in Japanese, but it was someone who kind of interviewed, you know, a conductor or someone kind of who's kind of in on the company's, you know, actions. And apparently, if you want to raise fares for a railway, you have to submit certain documents. And to do that, to write those documents, you need a certain specialist to do that. And obviously, they don't have those specialists. Right now, all their tickets, it's basically 140 yen or 180 yen flat. It's been that way for over 20 years. And in those 20 years, they've never had one of those specialists employed. And if they were to employ them, it obviously costs money. So they're not even doing that. So basically, they can't raise tickets, because to raise tickets, they need to pay to raise tickets. So, you know, it doesn't even make sense. So what's likely to happen is soon, it'll probably close, which is kind of the fate of a lot of train lines. So pretty much the message is, come in, ride it while you can, because it's probably going to be gone in a few years, I reckon. All right, so we're back at Nishi-Gobo station. It's about 7 minutes until it departs. So honestly, I explored the disused part of the line very, very quickly. You can do it before the next train even leaves. So if you wanted to, you know, ride a train, take a look at this, and then hop back to Gobo station, you could do it. I mean, I did it even while recording, so I'm sure it'd be easy if you did otherwise. Bloody hell, just look, and there's Literally no one on the train. Bloody hell. See, this is the thing, this is kind of what makes me, wait, let me get someone a bit quieter. Kind of makes me conflicted as someone making videos, in that, obviously this railway should be serving the local people. It should be what it's for. It's, you know, in the area and such, but it's, the only people riding it are mostly just people like me, you know, outsiders who just come in and be like, whoa, yeah, Gobo Railway, Kishu Railway, and then just go away. Don't even care about the city itself. So, you know what, I'm going to give you one fact about the city which doesn't matter to me, and that's that Gobo is pretty much, it has pretty much a monopoly on, wait, okay, no, it's still too loud. So Gobo has pretty much a monopoly on mahjong tiles. You know, mahjong, you know, of course you know, right. But it's relevant to me because I actually play with Ichi Mahjong, which is kind of Japanese rules mahjong. It's very fun. And it would be really cool if there was some sort of museum. If there was a museum for it, I'd definitely visit, but there's just nothing. It's just a bloke somewhere in his shed, probably just making them all. Doesn't really care about anyone coming to visit, I guess. But oh well. Well, there's just a bloke walking on the railway, which it's going in like 1 minute. Guy needs to get off. He needs to get off the bloody railway. What's he doing? Well, there it goes, and now let's go try to catch it. I mean, obviously we're not going to catch up with it, but we're going to just follow the rail line and visit all the stations. Well, we can. All right, and we're coming up to the first station, which is Shakushomae, basically in front of the City Hall, which I can't see actually, but I'm sure it's here somewhere. Anyways, I believe it's just a very simple platform station. Here is said platform. Yeah, this is literally it. But I guess this is all you need for a station serving only a handful of people a day. There you go. It's a midget. Don't take my word for it, it's what it says on the front. Seems like a train's coming. We've got to hurry up and meet it. Whew, whew, whew. Has it been that long already? Jesus. Oh, would you look at that? I believe the quote-unquote rush hour of I mean, what it usually would be. So I think the service is a bit higher than usual, maybe every half an hour. So if we're lucky, we might even be able to see it when it comes back around this way. So most of the Kishu Tetsudo's stations are just, you know, platform stations or very basic, except for Nishi-Gobo station, which is actually what we're facing right now, believe it or not. This, you know, thing with like these slit windows, this is actually the station. And there you go, you have there, let me just come around here. There you are, Nishi-Gobo Eki. And one thing as well, one reason why I guess it's so important is because that is the maintenance shed for the trains they have. I believe they have 2 that are actually in operation. But I mean, although I'm not going to be obviously riding any trains from here, let's go take a look at what is here. And I believe this is actually also one of the few staff stations, although I'm not sure if anyone's actually here or not. There you are. And obviously when you've got a failing railway, turn to anime apparently. Seems like no one's home. One thing you may have noticed is that there was this guy, which you can take a look, is actually a little sign there saying Kyushachu, which basically, I guess just not being used, a car at rest. I don't know how you want to put it, but it looks almost like, they kind of reminded me of England's kind of pacer trains, where they've just taken a bus, put it on some train wheels and just let it go. Which maybe that is what they did, but yeah, that one's not running, I don't believe. This is an extremely cozy little station though. We've just got little chairs as if people just kind of turn up and have a little chat, which is very lovely. Alright, I just noticed I apparently didn't record, but I did make it to Gakumon Station. Apologies, you couldn't see my genuine response to seeing it, but here we are, Gakumon Station. I tell you, the train driver, the bloke's probably had enough of me. I've popped up so much. We're free to cross. Lovely. That's probably not the first time, rather the last time I'll see one of those trains running, because we're not too far off, you know, where we started, Gobo Station. And we're finally back to good old Gobo Station. And with that, that's where I'm going to end the video. It's been a very long, fun but exhausting day recording 2 videos, but it's been a great start to my journey across the Kii Peninsula, and I'm looking forward to what I get up to tomorrow and for the next few days. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, but for now, stay safe and have a good one.